Madam Secretary, members of the committee, fellow citizens, thank you, by the way, for coming. I know you have really busy nights, really busy schedules with families, so thank you for coming here tonight. My name is Austin Fulnagy, and I actually drove over here tonight from Klamath Falls, which is on the other side of the Cascade Mountain Range here. There I work for the Oregon Employment Department with the state of Oregon, and I'm also an elected official with Klamath Community College Board of Education. I'm here tonight to support the proposed implementation of the new motor voter law and the updated approaches that it brings to us. In the last two federal elections, nearly 29,000 eligible Oregon voters registered to vote after the deadline for registering to vote, essentially leaving them on the sidelines and have to wait for the next election. To give you an idea of kind of the size of that, that's like taking all the registered voters in Klamath County, where I come from, and not counting their votes.
Right.
That is huge, and that is a huge detriment to the voting process and to the integrity of our electoral system. And on top of that, Oregon is one of the very few states that relies so heavily on paper forms. At best, this is unwieldy and outdated at best, and a waste of time and resources at its worst. And we do have digital alternatives that are available and other states use. And I feel that on top of that, these voter registration paper forms often allow for errors to happen, such as misspelling of complicated last names, and also errors to just records in general, which then prevent the voter from being able to vote and have their vote counted, which again compromises the integrity of our electoral process. When errors occur, eligible voters can be left out of the process entirely, and the new motor voter bill will help address these basic problems and update and modernize the Oregon process. And some people say that the new Oregon voter, new Oregon motor voter could make it easier to improperly register to vote and lead to voter fraud. However, this new motor voter bill, or law rather, makes our system more secure and it adds people to the voter rolls that meet an even higher standard than the old registration cards we've been using. And it verifies, again, name, age, citizenship, and electronic signature, all without paper translations or the potential errors that happen with the paper forms. I want to thank you for your time, for coming down here. I usually have to drive up to Salem to attend these, so I appreciate you going to all sorts of parts of the state, including Pendleton. So thank you for your time, and thank you everyone for coming out.
It is time to utilize basic and existing technology to streamline the process.
It'll make access to voter registration easier, and we can engage more communities which are typically ignored by the electoral process, like students.
The new Oregon motor voter will also open up doors for communities of color as well as traditionally marginalized communities. Oftentimes, folks in these communities are left out of this process due to inaccessibility.
Opening up the registration process to more people is a fantastic idea.
Being against this law is narrow or vision and afraid to the future. Let's open more about the future, be more open mind. And we trust the state to verify the citizenship of people living in the state of Oregon.
More up-to-date records will ensure that these voters are more likely to get ballots and therefore more likely to vote. More people voting can only be a good thing for Oregon and for democracy.
I just wanted to thank you for the administrative rules and the implementing this law. I support it as well as the motor voter registration. Thank you.
The concerns of our citizens, and there are concerns. The clerks had things that we were concerned with as well, are concerns as well. So we've had lists of things that we have talked about with the Secretary of State in an open, collaborative, meaningful conversation.
I think that it is groundbreaking policy. I think that it should be implemented through the rules process. I think that you might hear concerns in other parts of Oregon about citizenship status or about just access to secure information, but I think that the way that policy has been laid out accounts for those things and ensures that people's information is secure, ensures that there's cross-checking with the DMV for citizenship status, and I think that this will really help us register those people to vote, those mobile populations like we were talking about earlier.
I just don't understand how this could possibly be up for a vote, you know? So, thanks so much for hearing me, and I really hope that this stays. I mean, I just can't believe how wonderful it is and that it's possibly up on the chopping block. So.
The only thing that we have, in my opinion, is the democratic way, and that is to vote. I'm Lorraine Wordlow. I'm a Medford resident, and I'm also co-president of the League of Women Voters of Rogue Valley. And the League has a stand, we have a position, and we've promoted for the past 100 years. I wasn't there at the beginning.
I'm very proud that we are the first state in the country to consider something like this. And I'm very proud that there's so many people here interested in this issue and so concerned and in support of this issue.
The proposed draft of the Motor Voter Registration Manual ensures that data regarding participants in the Department of Justice's Address Confidentiality Program and individuals who've obtained personal safety exemptions from the Department of Motor Vehicles will not be transferred to the Elections Division.
My name is Dale Matthews. I'm from Grants Pass. This is a done deal. This is going to pass. I mean, everybody in this room already knows this is going to happen. So let's go into the future a little bit and look back at this wonderful thing and find out, gee, what went wrong in a few years from now? One of the things that went wrong in the future was we already know that the state has inadvertently dumped hundreds of thousands of pieces of individual information into the laps of hackers. We've already lost some of that battle. And so this kind of thing is going to continue to happen in other parts despite best of intentions. We never want that to happen. We have a policy against it happening. It's going to happen. And so it's probably going to happen with this process as well. So there's one of the downsides of especially being the first ones. We're going to encounter some problems. Everyone says, no, it can't possibly happen here. It's going to happen here. Okay, so I benefit from the idea with my politics of more people voting. I encourage all kinds of people to vote, and we do on our show all the time. Please vote, no matter what your position is. I personally benefit from that. What's going to happen here is that sometime in the future, there's going to be more talk about people who've come to this area illegally, and we need to be more fair with them. Okay, we've heard this already, so it's not like it's a big surprise to anybody. And at some time in the future, people that have a driver's license, it may be somebody that's working on a farm, viva la huelga, okay, I'm fine with that, but they're going to be working there and they're going to need a driver's license to drive the tractor. And there's going to be an exception in their case. That makes sense, and most people would say, I understand that. Well, now, then, will that person be able to vote? There's a possibility that that can happen. All right, that may not be the kind of thing that you like to hear. I know it's not politically correct in some places, but this does make that kind of thing easier to do. Okay, so what are some of the other places, looking back from the future at this, where things didn't quite work out exactly right? And that is, we're compiling more of our information about ourselves into one place. One thing that I know for sure, well, I'd like to believe, in Josephine County, is no one knows exactly how I voted. The more electronic that becomes, and the more all that information is compiled, the more likely something's going to go wrong. But we can all trust computers, please. Okay, we use them all the time. But that's simply not true, that we can all trust computers. So there are going to be some things that go wrong. This is going to pass. Get used to it. This battle's over. It's not even a battle. I agree with most people that this makes plenty of sense. But there's going to be problems that happen, and it's a good idea to point out what they are ahead of time, so maybe we can do something about heading them off. Okay, not to be the skunk at the dinner party, but everyone's saying everything is wonderful. I understand that. Something's going to go wrong. It's nice to be prepared. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.